All right, guys. So we're gonna be going over the Week 6 cash build for you guys. There's gonna be a few lineup paths that I really like a ton. To be honest with you, it's either you're gonna be paying up for the running backs, or you're gonna be paying up for the tight end or receiver. So that's kind of gonna be the lineup approach here. I will say Stafford's pretty much been my go-to quarterback for cash purposes. If you want to play like Big Ben, pay up for him, you can. He's gonna be safe. Carson Wentz is kind of my pay down play. I just don't feel comfortable with that. The most safe play, it's probably going to be the most owned player, is going to be Matthew Stafford. I just don't see a way that I can afford to fade him. But if we're playing Matthew Stafford, then you kind of just have to play Kenny Galladay. 8 targets, 7 targets. You know, he should be a safe play at this price point. And, you know, if he does end up being like the top fantasy producer and receiver this week, it won't shock anyone. I mean, I think he's a top 10, maybe even top 5 receiver in the league. I really do. I think he's great. So if you play Stafford, I don't think it's a must play to play Galladay, although I think you kind of have to. And then running back wise, so I will get into it. So Derrick Henry, I still like a ton. I do think he's kind of a plug and play. If you guys wanted to go a slightly safer route, I guess, you could play Madison, you could play Mike Davis. Those are going to be fine, and I'll touch on a lineup with those 3 here in a second as well, because you could easily make that work. I'm a little bit off of Robinson, a little bit more as the week went on. JT, I think, is going to be fine still. Really like Myles Gaskin at that price point. You could easily plug and play him. I'm going to do that in this build. I'm going to throw in Phillip Lindsay. I just think at this price point, there's no way he doesn't exceed that value. Going to be a great play. And that's obviously with Melvin Gordon out. Irv Smith or Trey Burton at the tight end spot is where I've been coming down to for my cash builds. And yes, it's a little bit risky to play Irv Smith at the tight end, given the fact that he really only had one big week. I do think the snap count's going to be there for him again, where he saw, over 72% of the pass plays. That's pretty elite. And he pretty much split snaps with Kyle Rudolph. I just like him a ton at that price point. Falcons have struggled against tight ends. Obviously, it's going to be a tough play for me to pass up on. So for defensively, I've either been ending up on the Dolphins, the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are going to go negative. Or where's the other defense? Or the Redskins. Those have been kind of the 3 I've been ending up on. I like the Dolphins the most, given their price point. And then we have a ton of salary left over. I believe you can fit them both in. So yeah, obviously this is going to be a great, easy, optimal build here. You're fading in the pretty much the 3 best receivers on the slate, given matchup and given price point. Ridley and Thielen should see around 10 targets each. I think Galladay's going to see around 8 targets. Gaskin should see 15 DK points. Lindsay should see around 12. Henry should easily dominate this slate. So this lineup approach makes a ton of sense. It's one of my favorite lineups that you can go with. But let's say you want to, favor the running backs a little bit more, pay up for the upside guys a little bit more. You can easily do that as well, and I'll show you how. So we'll just play Madison, and we'll play Mike Davis. You could easily do that this week. You got A.J. Brown, who I think is pretty much Kenny Galladay light on this slate. $600 cheaper, but 9 and 8 targets. I think the targets are going to continue to be there for him, especially with Corey Davis out. Like A.J. Brown a ton at that price point. And then we're left with Keelan Cole or Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry I've gone on a little bit more as the week went on, but I still do really like Keelan Cole at this price point. Just makes a ton of sense. So you usually fit Keelan Cole in there, then you're sitting pretty. So this is another great, easy lineup path that I like a ton. It's up to you guys what you guys want to go with there, but obviously a great lineup approach there. Let's say you don't want to pay up for, Irv Smith. You could easily go Trey Burton, who, with Mo Cox out, I think Trey Burton's going to operate a lot more in the tight end spot like he already has been. At 3.1, that's simply just way too cheap for him, and then you're paying down for Bengals defense. That makes a ton of sense as well. Now, let's say you want to go David Montgomery, Gaskin, as if that's your lineup approach that you want to go with. Instead, you can even pay down kind of pretty decently at the running back spot. So real quick, Gaskin, Montgomery, Lindsay. I would say, put, it doesn't matter, Lindsay or Gaskin in the flex. They play later, and you're going to be paying up for receivers here. Go with the top 2 again. Got a ton of money left over for either pay up for defense, maybe go up from quarterback. I'd probably say, just pay up at defensively. Nothing too great here. Maybe go with the Redskins. I don't like that. I don't see a big difference defensively, so maybe you pay up from Lindsay. If you wanted to go that route, you could. I don't know, maybe Brown here. I don't know. yeah, go Bengals or something. But yeah, so obviously there's a ton of great lineup approaches you can go with on the slate. Like, you really can mix and match kind of my favorite plays on the slate, and I'll just recap them real quick. So running back, I do like Madison. I think he's going to hit profit at his price point. Mike Davis, I think, will continue to be good. JT, I'm fine with. If you guys end up on him, that's fine. But I'm going to be going on my way to get Gaskin, Montgomery. And then Philip Lindsay, I think, is way too cheap. So it's kind of, if you guys want to pay up for running backs, you saw the lineup approach. If you don't, you saw the lineup approach. For me, at the receiver spot, it's pretty simple. Calvin Ridley, Thielen. I do worry about Ridley a little bit with Julio Jones back. That does worry me a little bit. So I'd much rather go like Kenny Galladay, A.J. Brown, and then Keelan Cole I like a ton. We'll say Damiere Byrd, still pretty cheap at his price point. Very cheap for the targets that he's gotten. So still cheap. And then tight end, Trey Burton or Irv Smith is pretty much it. And then defensively, I think you really can't go wrong with Bengals and Finns. So hope you guys have a good week this week. As always, guys, let's keep cashing. All right, thanks. We're out.